This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneur. This is a new episode of our content series called In the Life of an Eight-Figure Seller, where we go deep into the business and personal life of successful e-commerce sellers who reached over $10 million in sales. So we can learn from them, get inspired, and apply their tips and tactics to our business. Today, I'm joined by Shawn Hart, who, together with his business partner, Seth Stevens, have created 53 of their own brands on Amazon, launched more than 1,000 private label products, and grew to over $1 million per month within 18 months of creating their first brand on Amazon. After exiting many of their own brands, they now help Amazon sellers around the world generate a lot more revenue by re-engaging their Amazon customers with real email and text marketing through their company, Post-Purchase Pro. Hey, Seth. Shawn. How are you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, Jim Marco? That was a lot to say, and it's been a long journey for sure.
Yes. I was prepared to say Seth and Shawn, but it's just you today. I just use this to remind people that we already recorded an episode with you and Seth, so you guys can go back and check in our podcast list. There is already another episode with where Shawn and Seth always share lots of great value. But today, the topic is a little bit different. It's about your experience as an eight-figure seller. Obviously, your story, it's impressive, launching over 1,000 products on Amazon with 53 brands. So I'd love to dive deep into your story. So the first half of the questions I will ask you will be more about your brand, how it looks like, so we can give people kind of a benchmark of how a business of that level looks like. And then in the second half, I will ask you some questions about your mindset, your skill sets, to learn more about how you get there. All right. So the first question, we kind of already covered in your bio, but just to give a frame to this, do you operate with business partners or co-founders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was working solo for the last quarter of 2013, and things were going really well. So that's when I met up with Seth and then showed him what I was doing, and we decided to go in business together, and starting in January 2014. So yes.
Awesome. Okay. So when you were running your business, because now you mentioned in our chat before the call that you sold all of your brands recently. So we will talk about your brand when you used to have all these brands at once. So when you were at the level of like $1 million per month, what was your team like? And what was the role? How many people were in your team?
Yeah, so we had a pretty extensive team at the time of 9 people, including myself and Seth. But when you talk about partnerships, Gianmarco, I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make is they end up partnering in business with someone that they like to hang out with, that have similar skill set and similar aspirations. When in reality, when you're choosing a partner to go in business with, this is different if you're choosing someone to go fishing with or go golfing with. You need to have a different set of skills and, be naturally talented at a different aspect of the business. Otherwise, you end up bumping heads. So in my 48 years now, I've had some good partnerships and some bad partnerships. And that's the thing that stands out the most to me, is you don't want to have a partner with the exact same skill set. Otherwise, you don't really need each other. You end up getting in each other's way. So in early 2014, when Seth and I first partnered, he was more of the thinker and the finance guy and the legal guy. And his role was to manage the office and the staff. My role was to find new product opportunities, source those products, and then send samples into the office. We were actually working about 1,000 miles apart. He was in Indiana and I was in Texas at the time. And that first 10 months, we launched 351 new private label products, completely unique, all for ourselves. 351 products in the first 10 months. So obviously we had to have a massive team to support that. Our team was all US based, and there were 9 of us in total working on the business. So for example, we would have one particular department who would do all the product images and create the listings and the branding. And we had another department who would handle all the customer service and tracking sales and customer inquiries. And another department would be handling all of our imported goods because, we had hundreds of unique SKUs. So all these products had to be consolidated into containers and brought into the US. 100% of our product was sourced overseas, mainly in China. Probably 95% came from China. And we had one nice, good product that was coming from Nepal. So, basically what that looked like, Gianmarco, is I would identify the opportunity from my remote location. I would source a sample or two, have those samples sent into the office for photography, and then our team would quickly create a listing for that product, and we would do a FBM listing with very long lead time, and just to test the market while we were waiting on inventory to come in. If we saw a little bit of traction on those listings that were FBM, then I would order small sample size of 20, 25, maybe 50 units at the most, ship those into the office. We would send them into FBA in plain, unmarked, clear poly bags. Once we went through the sample or the test inventory, then we would get serious and start private labeling and branding the packaging and things like that. It was easy for us to sort through several dozen products to find the obvious winners that we would scale, and then we would just let the losers die out. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. But in that case, I'm guessing the products didn't have so much personalization, right? They were
Absolutely.
kind of generic products, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
The idea was to get the early mover advantage when we found an opportunity, and then to do the bare minimum work, testing that product with very minimum risk. That's why the very small inventory quantities. And then only after we had the confidence of seeing that a product was going to be a winner, only then would we purchase a mass order of 500 to 1,000 units that we would private label and do some custom packaging. It was a different world back then, mind you. That was 9 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, things have changed, but that's a very interesting take. Yeah, I wanna stick a little bit more on over the topic of the team. You said you scaled to 9 people, all US based, which is actually something uncommon recently.
Yeah.
It became uncommon again. So how did you progress to that level? So did you hire these people all at once? Who did you hire first? How did you go about that?
The first hire, the deal actually made with Seth was, you come in, put in what we call sweat equity. You're familiar with the term, right? You work in the office, and then I'll provide the financing and the inventory for the first year. After you put in the first year, then we become 50-50 partners legally. So during that first year, Seth still held a job. So we needed someone to man the ship, if you will, and check on orders and do processing and customer service type of stuff. So first hire was his best friend from college. They went to college together. His name was Michael. And so Michael basically had an overview of the entire business. He would work on it all day long, and then Seth would come in after his regular job. He quit that job after about 6 months, but in the first 6 months, he would come in after work and put in 3 to 4 hours of overseeing everything. And at that point, we had, I would say, we were doing about $500,000 per month in revenue, and we had not even discovered the whole private label. We were just selling generic products on generic listings before we discovered that. So that was the first hire. We quickly decided that we needed someone in the warehouse because we had product shipping in every day, and we obviously had to label product and get it ready for FBA. We were not shipping directly from our suppliers to FBA warehousing. We were bringing it to our central warehouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then we would relabel product and send it out by the pallets every day. So the second hire in there was my brother, followed by Seth's brother. So we kept it really close to the family in the beginning. So there were 4 of us, and we were supporting about $500,000. I think it was 450,000 per month in sales before we started getting more professional people involved. Does that answer your question?
Okay. Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah. Sometimes, people try not to get involved with family, but sometimes it works very well. So
Well, at
depends.
least it's someone you can hold accountable. You can almost embarrass them into doing the job.
Yeah.
And after that, we ended up hiring Seth's wife came in for the business. That was 5. And then my brother's wife came in, was number 6. And then we hired a professional photographer. And then we hired someone to only work on creating listings and optimizing split testing listings. That was Eric. And then let me think. The last person that came in was we decided to have a brand manager who would manage and do off Amazon content for a particular brand. It was a bedding brand, and we ended up turning that person into someone who would just go out there and identify new opportunities, because it was hard for me to keep coming up with ideas, as you can imagine.
Yeah, very interesting. It kind of a little bit of a mafia
It really was.
internal, right?
Yeah,
Because
there are some funny pictures out there circulating where each one of our brands, we had, I think, 6 or 7 seller accounts at the time. And because each brand, our idea was to build that on a unique seller account so that we could sell that off as a business unit. And so when you'd walk into our office, we had 12 called static IP addresses from our local internet service provider. And so we would create a unique IP address for each individual seller account. And then there was the main computer for that account would be a laptop that would be labeled whatever that seller account name was. And that would host all of the content for Amazon. So it was from a unique MAC address and unique IP. And then we would have a satellite computer for each account that would kind of float around the office in the different departments. It was quite funny looking back now, at our setup. We didn't do cloud computing or anything. Everything was done in the office by real humans.
Wow. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. That was a different time, but yeah, not so long ago, actually. Yeah, you sold the last brand, you said, in 2020. So yeah,
In
not so
April of
long.
2020, we sold the last brand. Yeah, we sold 17 of those brands. But remember, our whole business model was to identify opportunity, to leverage the Amazon platform to grow that brand to what we would consider a mature level, right? Where we're not seeing double-digit gains each quarter. And then we would list that brand for sale. And over that 5, 6, let's see, we went from 2014, so that's until about 6 years total. We listed and sold 17 brands. Our last brand being in April of 2020. Pretty good timing for the COVID pandemic.
Wow. Yeah. Congrats. Yeah, definitely great achievement. So, as we said, you created lots of brands. So the next questions will be about painting a picture of those brands. So maybe you can pick and choose some of them, or maybe you can stick with just one, the one that you prefer or the biggest.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, up to you. So let's go. Like, there are a few quick fire questions. Let's say, how many parent SKU did you have?
We'll just stick with the biggest brand we had was doing a little over 3 million per. Yeah, it was doing over 3 million, like 3.5 million. And that particular brand, we didn't actually do parent ASINs back then. What we would do was a process called creative cloning. Are you familiar?
Yeah, I do, but maybe it's better that you explain it a little bit.
So back then, we're talking 2014, 2015, this particular brand of bedding, if we had a successful listing, we wouldn't create parent-child listings. We would create more unique listings with a unique offer that would laser target a specific niche within our category, and then we would get that listing ranked. The idea was to have multiple listings of a very similar product. It was actually the same product, just listed differently, all showing up on page 1 search results, so that we were capturing the lion's share of the real estate on Amazon, if you will. And at one point for this particular product, we had, I think, 10 or 11 listings on page 1, including our sponsored listing and our headline listing. So we would have 8 or 9 organic listings on page 1 for our best keyword. and then also we were dominating the sponsored ads on the page. So that was
Awesome.
how we were able to dominate back then.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that strategy. Yeah. Very interesting. I heard that in one of your webinars a while ago.
Yeah.
So what was the average selling price of this product?
It was $34.99, somewhere around in there. And the thing about using the creative cloning was we were able to sell that same product for $19.99 all the way up to $180, depending on how we positioned it. So at the end of the day, if you would purchase from listing number 3 for $39.99 and listing number 7 for $179, at the end of the day, you would receive the exact same product in the same packaging. It would just be uniquely positioned to a specific sub niche within the category. For example, we were selling pillows. Maybe you are a side sleeper, so you're looking for a pillow designed for side sleepers. I'm a stomach sleeper. The next guy is a back sleeper. So we would have the exact same pillow, but it would be positioned side sleeper pillow, back sleeper pillow, stomach sleeper pillow, so that if you were looking for this particular type of pillow and you were a side sleeper, the idea was that listing would speak more to you specifically.
Interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, obviously, as long as the product can really deliver on those value proposition
Absolutely.
that you position the products on. Yeah, that's very smart.
The idea, Gianmarco, is that a lot of people will purchase the same product, but for a totally different reason. And when we discovered the real reason why someone was purchasing, maybe because it was hypoallergenic, maybe because it was adjustable, maybe because it stayed cool at night because of the product, then we would create a listing to speak specifically to that core reason why that customer was buying. Like you purchase these AirPod headphones maybe just to do podcast. Maybe I purchase those headphones because I want to use them at the gym, and someone else purchased those because they use them on an airplane. Well, we have 3 unique reasons for the product. Okay, it's the exact same product, but we would position this, podcast friendly earpods, and airplane friendly AirPods, or earpods, I should say, and then we would say gym friendly earpods, something like that. Pretty simple, but it made a substantial difference in our conversions and being able to dominate those categories.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Very cool strategy. So maybe the next question you can answer, talking about a few or all the brands that you were working with. So how many factories were you working with, and in which country were they based?
So 95% of what we sold came from China, and we had a dedicated sourcing agent that I'd been working with over 20 years, which made it really easy for us to source and procure new product. And it would be, dozens of factories, like we're buying pillows from one factory, hula hoops from another factory, hearing amplifiers from another factory, all from different areas of China. So I don't have an exact number, but it was very rare to buy the different product from the same factory that we're producing something from.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the bedding, all the pillows, for example, came from the same factory. They were just positioned differently.
For
But
sure.
we
Yeah.
would buy mattress toppers, sheets, things like that from other factories.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. And in which countries were you selling? Like just the US or others?
When we were only selling in the U.S. and Canada, we just started expanding into Germany when we sold out our last brand, which, the timing was good that it was COVID, during the COVID pandemic, but it was also bad because it was a fitness product, which, ramped up pretty quickly during the pandemic.
Okay, interesting. And what was the percentage coming from Amazon and other channels? Did you also have Walmart or Shopify?
We were not using Walmart. We had Shopify because we would create monthly recurring revenue offers, like subscription models for our product. For example, we'll stick with the pillow product. With the pillow product, we actually had a monthly pillow club where it was ridiculous, but we found out that a lot of people who were purchasing pillows were purchasing multiple times. And by polling our customers and finding out why, because of allergies, they need a new pillow every 30 days. So we created a monthly pillow club, for example, which we would host on Shopify. Most of our sales in those early years, 100% of the sales in 2014, 2015 came from Amazon. And then in late 2015, we discovered, which is now, I don't even think it's a thing anymore, Groupon and Living Social. Have you heard of those?
Yeah, Groupon, definitely. I haven't heard about the other one.
So we would create offers on Groupon, and Living Social was very similar. It was a peer based social group that would share deals, and we would sell. I mean, one deal on Groupon, we may sell 20,000 units of the same product in 60 minutes. It was really, really big, but it was short lived, like, ramp up and then crash and burn. So, but we didn't utilize any other platforms at the time. They were just barely even being spoken of.
I see. Yeah, makes sense. And have you ever raised capital or borrowed money on the journey to reach this level?
No, I've actually, I've been in business for myself since I was a very young teenager, and I've never had to raise capital. We always bootstrap everything. For that particular growth in 2014, just to be completely transparent, I had earmarked $1 million to use for inventory because I was already independently wealthy at the time. Seth was just freshly out of college, so he put in the sweat equity. I financed all the inventory, but I was quickly paid back. It wasn't like we started with, $2,000 and launched 1,000 products. I put a $1 million aside to use for inventory, and that was quickly paid back within 12 months. We were clear there. So no, I didn't raise capital. I used my own.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, but obviously at 1 million, it's a good start.
It is a good
starting
start.
capital. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it took a long time to actually tap into the entire amount that was there, because we were wildly profitable right out of the gate. So it really we had to really try to reach that spend limit, and we had really good support system in China as well. Some of our suppliers, after 2 or 3 orders, were actually offering terms, so it was difficult for us to even spend the $1 million. Nice. But it was there. It was nice to have that parachute.
Yeah. Well, that's a good problem to have, obviously. So how long did it take to go from 0 to 7 figures and from 1 million to 10 million, just to give people an idea?
You're talking about annual revenue or monthly revenue?
Yes. Annual revenue.
So our very first year, we did about $3 million in sales our first year. So,
wow, okay.
And 3 to 4 months in, before we ever even learned anything about what's now known as private label, we were already doing about $500,000 in sales. So I would say 6 figures immediately. Like January 2014, we did over 100,000 in sales. 3 to 4 months in, we were at $500,000 per month in revenue. And then I would say the first $1 million month came in about a year and a half, like month 18, I believe. We started doing 1 million per month. But so you do the math. 3 million the first year. We did about, I think, 7 or 8 million the second year, maybe 12 million the third year. But you have to remember, our goal was to grow the brand and then exit it. So every time we sold a brand, our annual revenue would come down. There was never a time where we had 53 brands all selling at the same time and we were capturing all that revenue. Our whole model was to grow the brand and sell it, and that's what we were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, makes sense. That's obviously impressive. And it's something, I guess, it can be done with a large team and good starting capital like you guys had. Yeah, awesome.
Of course.
So what were the key factors that helped you scale from 1 to 10 million in this case?
Well, we didn't know this at the time, but we were putting a tremendous amount of value in creating relationships with our Amazon customers. Back then, Amazon would literally give us the name, address, and phone number of all of our buyers from Amazon. So we made a huge effort to reach out to those customers through product inserts, phone calls, postcards, and things like that to create a mailing list of our actual buyers from Amazon. And what we were doing was something that we had always done inside of our other businesses. I've been selling physical products since I could walk. And the customer was always the highest value asset of our business. And I taught Seth this as a mentor when we started this business. we started collecting massive lists from our, contact list from our Amazon buyers. And then we would remarket to those customers whenever it was time to launch a new product. I had a captive audience of tens of thousands of customers that I could simply send an email message to and say, hey, we just launched this new product. This is a maternity pillow or whatever. And here's a 20% off discount coupon if you want to jump in and buy that. And we were able to just produce sales there was an avalanche of sales coming in from sending emails. And, at the time, it was ridiculous, but I didn't know that not everybody was doing this. A lot of people were doing it the hard way, where they were buying Amazon ads, and doing rebate clubs and things like that. The only thing we were doing that was super secret sauce was we were talking to our customers. It's that simple. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that you're going to go to a new barber every time you get a haircut, right? You go to the same person. So to go buy a pillow from a different seller every single month was ridiculous in my opinion. So we took it upon ourselves and took control of that customer journey and continued to send new offers and new product launches to our existing customer list. And the results were remarkable. It took us a long time to find out what we were doing right. We went to sell a brand, and when they started doing due diligence and we're talking about where were our sales coming from, we had a large percentage of our sales, like 40% of our revenue, was coming from existing customers, completely outside of search, find, buy on Amazon. We were sending them targeted emails with a link to go to our store. We weren't even smart enough to use an associate link and try to get commission on our own sales. We just wanted our customers to buy more. And a lot of times, if you have a good product, all you have to do is ask your customer, just present them with an offer, and they'll go back and buy again. It's not secret. It's not some magic ninja hack. It's just good customer service.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. And obviously, it's one of those things that it's kind of common sense, but it's not common practice, right? But you definitely nailed that.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't smarter than the average seller. We were just doing things differently out of ignorance, and it turned out to be good,
Yeah, for sure. You obviously did great. And, we're speaking a lot about successes, but what about failures? Like, what would you change if you could go back in time or do differently?
That's easy. So when we started looking at our figures, what happened was, and it was the old fashioned 80-20 rule. 20% of our products were producing 80% of our sales and therefore profits. And when we actually broke that down and was looking at each individual listing and each brand, some of those brands were actually unprofitable, but we didn't look at it that way. We looked at the business as a whole. So when we started really narrowing down and drilling down on the data for each individual brand, it was easy for us to see that some of these brands were unprofitable and that they were pulling profits out of our profitable brands. So we started phasing those products out, which meant less staff, less warehousing, less inventory, less cash outlay or, commitment. And that happened in probably 2017 or so, when we started really streamlining and only focusing on the things that were really making a difference. And we stopped, what we call beating dead horses. Trying to get a dead horse to get up and run is pretty difficult. So we made a very, very conscious effort to eliminate the losing brands and only focus on those brands that were doing really well. And that was a huge game changer for us.
Nice. So we can summarize it in like know your numbers, essentially.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So we were focused on front end sales and growth, and we weren't looking at on the backside.
Nice.
We were profitable, but we could have been much more profitable, and then so we made that decision.
Exactly. Okay, makes sense. What would be then your advice to a 7-figure seller to help them scale to 8 figures?
For us, it was doing more of the same. We were in hyper launch mode. So sometimes we spend our days and our times and hours working on existing product, trying to make it better, trying to make the listing convert higher. When in reality, if we put that exact same amount of energy and time and money into creating new listings, either using my creative cloning style of creating new listings for the same product, or do what we did and launch new products. Because the easiest low-hanging fruit for us was find new opportunities, launch those opportunities, and take all of those easy sales, that first mover advantage sales on Amazon, and I think that a lot of us get focused on trying to make what we have better, when at a certain level, we called it, a mature level. We're not seeing double digit gains each quarter. It was time to let that product earn its keep, and let's go focus our energy on launching new products. That's how we grew so fast, just launching product after product and testing smartly. A lot of Amazon sellers I see make a mistake of putting all their eggs in one basket and like spending months and months, even over a year sometimes, developing this product that they think is going to be this huge hero product and it's going to make them millions of dollars. And then when they finally launch, they realize that no one wants to buy the product, that it's too competitive, or that it's not profitable, or that, it's there's some sort of alphabet agency, we call them, like FDA or something, needs to be approved. But they wasted all that time and energy and money and effort into creating something that they didn't know was going to work. So what we do is we call it wide versus deep. We like to go a mile wide and an inch deep while we're testing. Instead of going a mile deep and an inch wide with one product, we'll throw up and test 5 to 10 products every time. We look for the easy wins with no input. Like, we'll literally just throw up listings, turn on sponsored ads, spending very minimal amount of money. We don't do any optimization. We just see which ones are going to get the easy sales. And then we forget about the 8 that are not getting sales, and we focus on those 1 or 2 products that are doing really well, and then we scale those. We used to call it feed the stallions and starve the ponies. That was the big game changer for us. And it's ridiculous. I know you've seen it too, where a seller will invest their entire life savings, their nest egg, and all their time and energy on launching this one hero product, and it turns out to be a dud. And they keep whipping that dead horse and trying to get it to wake up, but it's just, all the efforts are futile, right? When, if you could just spread that, let's say you had $10,000 to start testing products, chances of you getting it right the very first time out of the gate are pretty darn slim, especially in today's world, because Amazon is so technical. But if you were to spread that $10,000, invest $1,000 in 10 different products, you're going to find 1 or 2, sometimes 3 good winners out of that 10. It's like, going fishing with multiple fishing poles in the water. It gives you a better opportunity to find a winner. Don't go super deep, go super wide, even if it's within the same category, and then only focus on those winners that stand out, those outliers that stand up screaming, "Hey, look at me, I'm creating sales with no effort." This is where you need to spend your energy.
Interesting. But I'm wondering then, how deep do you go with listing optimization with those products that you're testing? Because it requires also a lot of time, in terms of creating listings, photography, keyword research, if you're testing so many products at the same time, right?
I would say we probably go 20 to 25% deep when we, instead of going 100%. For example, like I told you in the beginning, we would source products and have them shipped in plain OPP bags with no labeling, nothing on it, just a barcode, right? Because it saved time, and time is money. If you spend all your time developing packaging and logos and brand awareness and all this, but the product doesn't sell, what have you gained? You've lost your time and your money. So in an effort to save time and money, we would just go an inch deep, maybe spend, we'll have a generic packaging that's unbranded. Sometimes we've even bought a product that factory had on the shelf that had someone else's brand. We just have them take it out of the box and throw it in a poly bag. The idea in this wide versus deep concept is to test quickly and fail even more quickly, because the faster we can discover that product's not going to be a big winner on Amazon, the faster we can move on to something that does work. So cheap packaging, we've even used stocked images. Now this is, we're talking 7-8 years ago. Don't do this today. But cheap OPP packaging, stock images, a simple listing. Like today, I would just have GPT create my bullets and description and throw a title up there. I guarantee you, if you go out there and buy 10 to 20 units of 10 different products that you find on Alibaba that you think might be a winner, put $200 to $300 in each one of those products, max inventory wise, build a simple listing and just list it on Amazon. 1 or 2 of those are going to be standout winners. Forget about the rest of them. You don't even have to close the listing. Just let it sell out and be done. Only focus on those very obvious outliers. My son's doing that right now on TikTok. He's opened a TikTok shop. He put up 10 listings, and I think 4 of those listings started selling immediately. No input, no ads, no influencers, nothing. Just a simple fact that product had a high demand and it was viral. Those 4 products started selling. The other 6 products didn't even make an order. So forget about those. Only focus on the winners.
Interesting. But I'm wondering, just 20 units, is it enough for you to understand, how well the product goes? Isn't it too little?
Let me ask you, if you put 20 units, if you choose 10 products randomly and you put 20 units in FBA inventory and created a simple listing, and 2 of those products, boom, sold out this weekend, and the rest of those other 8 products didn't even get any traffic, wouldn't that give you more confidence to focus on the other 2?
Yeah, no, definitely. I like the idea. I was just wondering, maybe 20 units, it would be too little to give you like the confidence to go for that.
Yeah.
But obviously
I see what
you
you're
have
saying.
more experience.
But if this product sold out all 20 units in 48 hours and the other 9 products sold none or maybe 1, which one would you focus on? Then on the next step, you create a better listing, spend some time and money on optimizing your listing and your images, buy another 50 to 100 units and put it up, and then start focusing on doing a better job of getting that product going. Once that product sells out again, now you have, excuse me, now you have more confidence to go deep into that product. And that's just not what we're seeing sellers do. Sellers are spending all their time and effort going super deep on one product. And unfortunately, most of the time it doesn't work.
Nice. Okay. Okay. But just before, you were saying don't do this right now because it's it's a different time. What would change? What would be different now then?
I just don't have any personal experience or any personal observations of using this method today, because remember, we sold our last brand in 2020. We're talking about how did I get there? I just want you to understand how we got there.
Okay.
I'm not saying it won't work, but I'm not saying it will work either. Just use your head, test it, and see what you think.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I believe it will work, maybe with a little bit more effort in terms of listing optimization, I would guess. But still, I think it will work even today.
Some products are just magical. You list the product and it starts selling, and some products, no matter what you do, it doesn't sell. Maybe someone else owns that market. You don't know why, but don't spend your time and energy and money trying to figure it out. Just focus on what does work.
Yeah, totally.
We don't fall in love with any products.
Right. That's also one of the main rules. Yeah. So I wanted to go. So we're gonna go more into like your questions about you personally. So how many hours do you work per week, and what your day looks like? Or I mean, at that time, what your day looked like?
At that time, I would spend about 4 hours per day. Remember, my job for the business was to identify new product opportunities and source those. So I would spend about 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, looking at product. And then I would source product and have samples sent in for photography and things like that. I tracked everything in a Google Sheet for several years. And we have actually, that's something I can give your audience if they'd like to see the work that I did back in 2014, 2015. I actually have, because Google Sheets has we'll say it's like 300 million cells max per sheet, right? So I have, this shows you how much sourcing I did. We had 3 Google Sheets that I had to go to because we would max out the space on one. But I would love to share those with your audience. I actually have them somewhere I can share.
That would be great. Yeah, for sure. We'll put a link.
Basically, it's like, here's the product. Here's an ASIN of an existing product on Amazon. Here's the link to the product listing. Here are a link to all of the quotes that I received from factories. Here's a link to my invoice where I actually purchased the test order. And here's a link to the shipping, and then a link to the eventual listing that we created. Some of them may still be live. I don't know, but I'll share those with your audience. I just need to figure out. I think what it is, here's what we'll do. These are stored in a Google Sheet on my personal Gmail. So what I can do is I'll create 3 links for you when we finish today where you can share with the audience, where if they click on it, it'll just import into their own Google Sheets and make a copy of that sheet. Sound good?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, this wasn't planned.
No,
So
no, but
it's a
it's
great
nice to
gift.
see some of the crazy stuff that we were sourcing and the ideas that we came up with. I
Yeah.
remember one time there was this is a plastic bottle, but if you take a glass wine bottle, there's a glass cutter that cuts the top off, and then you can use this for crafts. And one day I was just being lazy and I said, I need to come up with 3 products today. So bam, 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 that was one of them. And I was embarrassed to even have it added. I think our cost was like $3 and it was a $35 product. But I ordered a sample, had it sent in. It's on the sheet that I'll share with you. And that product just took off and started selling like crazy. It was a glass wine bottle cutter, just for crafting. It was ridiculous. Like that's one of those examples where you put the listing up and it just sells like crazy and there's no explanation. Just take the money. That's all you have to do.
Nice. But that was kind of your invention, or was something existing?
It was something existing that I'd found somewhere online. I think at like one of those sites like shutupandtakeMymoney.com or something. I said, this is goofy. Sometimes goofy sells. And I just wanted to get out of the office early that day. So I threw it up and it worked.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great story. I want to talk about what habits, like what are the most important habits that you developed and that you think impacted the business the most?
One of the most important habits that I think we develop is we have to remember that we're in business to make money, not make sales. We have to be profitable. If there's no profit, then it's just an expensive hobby. So we pay ourselves first. Every Tuesday, I take cash out of the business and put it into my personal accounts, and that's a one-way street. I never take money out of my personal finances to go back into the business. If the business doesn't support itself, then we just let it die. And that's been true for every business that I've been involved in for the past 20 years. The business will support itself or it won't. And we have to be profitable right out of the gate. So once we start making a profit, we take that money out because that's us paying ourselves for our work. And that's been a game changer for us because, if we get to where, we're a little low on finances, well, now we got to do a big promotion, or we have to launch a new product, or we have to do something to generate revenue to pay the staff. Because I never take money out of my pocket and put it back into business. That's a huge no-no. That's a road that you don't ever want to go down because it's something that could never end if you get in the habit of supplementing your losing business with your own personal finances. Don't ever do that. If the business isn't profitable, make it profitable or get the hell out of that business and start something new.
Yeah. That reminds me of Profit First. Have you heard that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've read that. I was doing this before I read the book, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. I started using it about a year ago. Yeah, definitely. I got much more profit in my pocket since then.
Yeah, you have to, because if you don't, you continue to delay that. You reinvest it in more inventory, more advertising, and you think, well, someday I'll take my share. Well, sometimes that someday doesn't come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very true. Very true. Were there any books or mentors or experiences that strongly impacted your success that you can mention?
So when it comes to habits and books all in one, excuse me, I read this book when I was 15 years old. The author is Og Mandino, and it's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. Now, the title is stupid. So the title doesn't really make sense, but it's all about creating habits in your life so that you can accomplish the goals that you want. So it's a fictional story in the beginning about a young salesman who's trying to learn how to approach people and create sales for himself. And the book takes place in ancient times, like 2,500 years ago. But the inside of the book, there are 10 secret scrolls that Og Mandino created. And basically within the book, you live with each one of those 10 scrolls for 30 days so that they become a habit. Like the first scroll in the book is being able to develop the habit of reading the scroll every day to yourself in the morning and then out loud at night for the first 30 days. And the second scroll is how to treat others, basically how you want to be treated. It's called, I will greet this day with love in my heart, meaning if you, Gianmarco, can feel my love for you, how can you say no to me as a sales guy, right? And you live with that scroll for 30 days. And then the third scroll, which is the one that I like the most, I actually named one of my companies after it, Third Scroll Products, but it's I will persist until I succeed. And basically, you live with each one of these scrolls for 30 days. This book was written in the late 70s, but the content is timeless and it's very impactful. So I highly recommend it. I liked it so much. I literally committed the entire book to memory, so I didn't have to carry a copy with me when I was traveling. I memorized all 10 of those scrolls.
Wow.
And a special prayer at the end. I can probably recite at least 50% of it to you, each one of those scrolls. We're talking like 120 pages committed to memory. It was that important to me. The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely put it in my book list. It's a huge book list, but I'll bump it up now that you talked so well about it.
It's a short three.
Yeah.
It's like maybe a 3-hour read at the most.
Okay, that's not bad. All right.
My son's in my office here. He says 2 hours.
Okay, cool. So last couple of questions for you. What are the soft skills, not the habits? Now we talk about soft skills that you believe were crucial in your journey to 10 million.
Well, looking back, it was about creating offers. All right. It was like creating an offer that speaks to an individual, not just a computer, because a lot of times we forget that there's a real living, breathing human on the other side of that transaction. So if you can speak to that customer, that prospect in a way that makes them feel understood inside of your listing, inside of your bullets and your images, or any other offer, if you're not selling on Amazon, it doesn't matter. If you can create an offer that resonates deeply, that they can feel understood, then that increases your conversions. And what we do a lot of times, and I didn't discover this stuff, this is just something that I grew up doing, but a lot of times we end up creating one single listing on Amazon and we think that has to speak to all individual buyers, and it's just not true. I need to feel understood as a entrepreneur and a business person, a sales guy. If your listing speaks to me and my individual desires, my core desires, then I'm going to purchase your product. So the ability to create offers that resonate with a specific audience has by far been one of my single most important soft skills, as you would call it. And the hard-headed persistence to continue trying, even when I don't get it right, is another one.
How did you get the skill of creating offers? Did you read books? Did you have mentors, coaches?
I think it was a God-given gift, honestly, because I've never had a job, I guess I worked at McDonald's for 2 weeks when I was a teenager at 16 years old. That's the only job I had. I put in a total of 8 hours in 2 weeks' time. So I started my own business and started creating value in the world at 16 years old. And what I understood, I guess it was just a God-given gift, is that if I'm speaking to you, whether I'm selling you, I started selling fresh cut flowers on the street, back when I was in high school. If I'm selling to you individually, I need to connect with you as a person and make an offer that you understand is more value than what you're trading your dollars for. And being able to craft that both verbally or in writing has made a huge difference in my life. Have you read my book, Private Label Millionaire Secrets?
Not yet. I will put it in my list together
with
the other one. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
So this book right here, I think chapter number 3 is all about creating offers. And, a lot of people will approach me at these events and they'll say, hey, I read your book. And I think that, the offer segment on that really resonated with me, and it makes a huge difference. You're not just speaking to ones and zeros in a computer screen. You're creating an offer for an individual human, just like yourself. So you need to speak to them in a tone and a language that makes sense for them if you want to increase your conversions. It's not one size fits all. When we sold our pillow, it wasn't like, hey, buy a shredded memory foam pillow. No, that we couldn't to create an offer and to think that that's going to cover every single audience on Amazon. And this applies off Amazon too, of course. But to think that offer is going to resonate with everyone is ridiculous. If you type in any keyword on Amazon, you're going to see an entire page of listings that Amazon thinks is relevant to your keyword search, right? Well, to think that one of those listings is going to capture all of the market share is ridiculous. You don't have to be a genius to understand that each individual listing is only going to capture a certain percentage of the market. So our idea is to have a listing or an offer that speaks to each individual sub niche so that we can capture the lion's share. If your listing only captures 10% of a finite number of sales for your category on Amazon, let's say you're selling pizza cutters, right? You're selling an amazing pizza cutter, but there are only 10,000 pizza cutters being sold every day on Amazon. You can't increase that number, right? Because they're Amazon's buyers. There's nothing you can do to increase the number of pizza cutters being sold. But if your listing's capturing 1,000 of those orders or 10%, isn't it fair to assume that if you also had another listing that could capture 10% of the market share, that you would double your business? You agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's as simple as creating a unique offer within the same category, and that's something I've just been tremendous at.
Interesting. That's awesome. Yeah. You obviously developed lots of great skills, starting from at 16, your first business. Yeah. So definitely that's after several years you get this advantage, which is that played very well for you.
And that's what people say. So
yeah.
how can you do this? How can you write email campaigns? And I said, look,
Yeah.
if you spend 10,000 hours doing anything, you're going to get good at it.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. That's something that most people should understand. Yeah. Simply lots of experience, lots of hours. Yeah. And
I just wrote 3 email swipes this morning for a promotion that we're doing, just as an example, off of Amazon. Each 3 of those email swipes is promoting the exact same thing, but they resonate with 3 totally different segments of the market. One of them is resonating with those who think logically. One of them is resonating with those who think, with their heart emotionally. And one of them is resonating with, hey, this is what you're going to miss out on. It's all urgency and scarcity. If I were to write 3 emails and send all 3 messaging with the same positioning to the same audience, I'm only going to get the result of one of those emails. But we separate that, we split it up, and we resonate with 3 different segments of the same audience. And that's why we do so well.
Awesome. Very interesting. So I have the last question for you. What's next? What's next for you? What are you trying to achieve for the next few years? Maybe at the same time, you can take the opportunity to share with people how can you help them, and how can they reach out to you?
Sure. So Seth and I are growing an agency right now called Post Purchase Pro, and basically it's all of the inner workings of what's made us successful with our what we call post purchase marketing. That is creating relationships with Amazon customers and then bringing them back to your funnel, or in this case, your Amazon listing, in a way that resonates with them. We're increasing sales for Amazon buyers by bringing their old customers back to Amazon to buy more. At the end of the day, your job as a seller is to create the transaction on Amazon. Our job for Post Purchase Pro is to make each one of your existing customers more valuable through our follow-up marketing. We provide this as a service for select Amazon sellers. They have to meet certain criteria, of course. If you're selling crappy products with bad reviews, we can't sell more of the same, right? But if you sell good products that people like, we can help you sell more to your existing audience and help generate more referrals to their friends and colleagues. So we're building this agency with the sole purpose of selling it. I'm a serial entrepreneur. That's what I do. Unapologetically, it's all about putting cash in my pocket at the end of the day. And I've signed up for a 3-year journey, and we're approaching that mark. So for me, after this, I'm 48 years old, Gianmarco. I feel ancient. I want to spend more time on my boat, more time with my family. Right now, I only work 3 days a week, for about 6-7 hours a day, 3 days a week. But I want to work like 0 days a week. And
you deserve
I already have enough money in the bank. I just want to enjoy my life. I feel like when I get too old to hang out with my friends and go out on my boat and enjoy, having a beer, when I'm too old to do that, then I'll go back to work,
Yeah, for sure. Enjoy your boat for a while. You deserve it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. So remember, the key to success is to emulate the best. So make sure you implement the tips that Shawn just shared with you. Get inspiration. Listen again this episode twice, because there is so much information that Shawn just shared. And you'll find also the transcript of this podcast in our website, thesellerprocess.com, or you will find also the link in the YouTube description. And we'll share with you what Shawn shared with us today, like the links he mentioned in the call. So yeah, thank you again, Shawn. Thank you so much for the value you shared. It was awesome. Yeah, I hope to see you also in another episode to share more. But I love that you are so generous and can share so much of your experience. So yeah, thank you again for that.
I actually have another gift if you'd like.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it.
If you want to see the entire strategy, we talk about creative cloning. I actually have a website that redirects to the free training. It's creativecloning.com.
Creativecloning.com. Okay,
if you
perfect.
want to learn how to clone your existing products to double your business.
Awesome. New gift, guys. Create cloning. Say again.
Creative cloning.
Creativecloning.com.
You got it.
Awesome.
Thank
you
so much
very
for
much.
having me.
Yeah, thank you, Shawn. Thank you guys for listening. I wish you have a productive week, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Hey entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes and building up your team so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.